Good morning. You're listening to the Daily Deer. Today is Wednesday, February 19th. Let's go ahead and get into the deer woods. Today's topic is the layers of learning in deer hunting. And there are numerous quotes I could share to emphasize this message. We talked about this on the OKS Hunter podcast on Tuesday, which was last night. But the quote I'll start off today with is true wisdom comes to each of us when we realize how little we understand about life, ourselves, and the world around us. And that's a quote from Seneca. And if you don't know who Seneca is, he walked the earth the same time Jesus Christ did, oddly enough. And I find that to be very fascinating that he was this human that, actually walked among Jesus. He's referenced in the Bible also, which is pretty neat. But that being said, another quote that I would use to kind of prop that one up a little bit is um, your knowledge starts at the awareness of ignorance. The first step to gaining knowledge is recognizing what you don't know. And I'm a little bit maybe too obsessed with these types of quotes. Obviously, you do know some things, and that is important, and you should have some confidence. You don't know nothing, but certainly you don't know everything, and especially when it comes to deer hunting. And so what we talked about on the OKS Hunter podcast last night is that hunting isn't something you obviously master overnight. And I remember when I first started hunting, I just blindly followed my dad into the woods, got up in the tree that he picked out for me and sat and just waited on a deer. Like there was no, I was just kind of in that experience. And I got hooked onto hunting with the romanticism of just being in the North Woods of Wisconsin, the Nicolet National Forest. I just fell in love with the remote nature of that. And eventually I got really hooked into like hardcore bow hunting as I have been podcasting for many years. And so, but those first couple hunts, I remember my dad when I started setting up my own set and my own stand. You'd get to the base of the tree, look up the tree. Is it leaning this way, that way? Think about your stand placement and your strong side, and how you draw back, and make sure that you're not setting your stand up in a way that you're not going to take the shot that you're anticipating to take based on the assumption you've made about where the deer would potentially come from. Of course, they never come from the way you think, but nonetheless, those were things that I would try to not mess up early on. But I still hadn't had any awareness of like buck bedding or cover or rub lines or pinch points or, saddles in the land. None of these things like even registered with me. And kind of liken it to college a little bit that, like a college degree, you have your gen eds, your 101 courses. And when you go to look at your course schedule and pick out the classes you're going to take, if you look at a 201 class, it's like, well, you have to have a prerequisite. You have to take this other class first, or this one, you won't have the proper building blocks in place to succeed in this next course and beyond. So you can't fully grasp necessarily advanced whitetail tactics like thermals and postseason patterning until you've learned the fundamentals. And things like reading sign, understanding the wind, and recognizing travel corridors, things I just had mentioned. But each season teaches us something new, and it builds on the last, and so forth and so forth. It's one of the reasons why we get so excited to go hunting the following season, because it's like we can kind of pick up where we left off, but we get a bit of a reset. Like you've gotten so far in a video game and you kind of like prestiged, if you're thinking about Call of Duty, you're gonna go play the same level again, but now with more skill. So you kind of know what to expect, but not entirely. But you do have some more experience under your belt. You've learned some things. So you can kind of build on that, and I love that part of deer hunting a lot, and I think that's actually one of the bigger parts of my obsession is that you get to kinda keep trying again, and you get better and better and better. But even the most experienced hunters will tell you, like, that they're still learning, and if any hunter tells you that they've got it all figured out, they they're full of themselves is what it is. They're not even lying. They probably believe it, and, if you think you've learned everything, there is to learn in deer hunting, I always say you should probably go hang your gun and your bow up because, like, what are you doing? But, treat your hunting education like coursework. Start with the basics. If you're new to hunting, take notes, reflect on what worked and what didn't, and we talked about journaling in this, Daily Deer, so that's, like, some of the I think we've had 2 episodes about journaling. And push yourself to learn more each season, like, take a bit of a risk, like, try out a canoe, try out waders, and I mean, one year I waded down an entire river. I didn't bring a canoe, And that was pretty cool. I learned quite a bit. Would I do that again? Maybe. Like it's pretty cool. Um, and I did shoot at it. I shot a doe, and unfortunately, I never recovered her. It was kind of crazy, actually. Got it on our YouTube channel if you ever want to go check that hunt out. But it's pretty neat. And just keep trying to learn more and more. And you're going to learn more inevitably and just by default by being out there. You know, watch, read, listen to podcasts. You can talk to other experienced hunters. They're always happy to share their wisdom with you. But much like Derek talks about on the Dropping Pins podcast, is some of these hunters that are so experienced have a really hard time remembering what a new hunter should be learning. It's like, oh, geez, where do I even start? Like you can't boil the ocean. So he tries to extract the aha moments when it started to click for these guys and gals that really started killing big mature bucks on a consistent basis. Like, what did they figure out? What did they see or observe different? What was the big shift for them? So that's a great podcast to listen to if you want to hear what worked for others when they were kind of figuring it out. But hunting knowledge isn't linear. It's not like college where you can take a 101, a 201, and so forth. Like it doesn't work that way. So just, each season does build upon the last. Don't skip the fundamentals. Try to master them as best you can. Get very comfortable and confident. I think that's could be replaced with mastering, and you'll set yourself up for success and to have fun. Hunting is if it becomes not fun, it's probably not worth doing. If you find yourself getting too frustrated, just kind of take a step back a little bit, regroup, and focus on those fundamentals, and you'll probably find yourself having a much more enjoyable season. Thanks for trekking into the deer woods with me today.